Welcome to this online course. But first, let me say a very big congratulations to everyone for the successful registration of this course titled Educational Research Method EST 351. Now, this course is majorly for undergraduate students who are at the verge of writing their project reports. So it will really be helpful for them as to serve as a guide to write their project report. So today we'll be looking at lesson one, and the topic is educational research. And I'll be your facilitator, and my name is Franklin Onowugbeda. So, what are the learning objectives of this lesson? At the end of this lesson, it is believed that you would be able to define educational research, state the characteristics, and lastly, identify the types or the classification of educational research. So, what is research? We talk about research. What does it really entails? Research is a careful study of a specific problem using scientific methods, tools, and instruments. So, for you to conduct a research, there must first be a specific problem that you will carefully study using scientific methods, tools, and instruments. Research begins with asking the right question. Before you begin a research, you must have the right question at the back of your mind for which the research tends to address. He's thinking of the right question to ask for his research. Next is choosing an appropriate research method. Now, after you've done you've carefully studied the specific problem, you also asked the right question, you're going to move forward to choose the appropriate research method to be able to investigate the problem, and lastly you analyze your findings or observation, to which you will draw the appropriate conclusion. So, what is educational research? Uh, when we talk about educational research, it is geared towards unraveling educational problems. So, educational research is focused on solving problems that are associated in education. It's also concerned with improving the teaching and learning process. It deals with the systematic attempts to define and investigate problems involving teaching and learning. Uh, it also contributes directly or indirectly to the teaching and learning process. So, educational research, it just evolves around the school, round the classroom, round teaching and learning process. So, what are the characteristics of educational research? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The first one being systematic. So, we can say that educational research is systematic. What does systematic mean? It means that the step by step of the research must be sequential and logical. So, in educational research, it must be step by step, which would be in a sequential and logical manner. The other characteristics of educational research is the objective. Now, this means that the findings and reports, this means that the findings are reported as they are, like there's no bias, or there's no like the basis of the basis of interest of the researcher are not allowed to interfere with the research procedure or the process. That is objective. The other characteristics of educational research is that the report is precise. Yeah, very precise. Next is that it is testable and measurable. That is to say, the research is not speculative, but rather it is quantifiable. Uh, and lastly, educational research is replicable. So, in the results or findings of the research can be verified by other researcher or other person in various fields. That is talking about replicability as a characteristics of educational research. So now let's look at the classification of educational research. Wow. Educational research can be classified either by purpose, by method, or by nature of knowledge. Now, when you say educational research by purpose, it can either be pure research or applied research. Educational research by method can either be descriptive research, historical research, or experimental research. Now, looking at educational research by the nature of knowledge, it can be qualitative, quantitative, or meta analysis. Look at them step by step. The first is educational research by purpose, and like I said, we have the pure research. Now, pure research can either be basic research, and it is aimed at expanding the frontier of knowledge with no practical application. Now, the main aim of this is just for the development of theories and principles. Next is applied research. Now, in applied research, it deals with the application of theories and evaluating its usefulness. Now, you recall I said in pure research, it's just about the development of theories, while in applied research, it's now the application of those theories from this pure or basic research. We'll be looking at educational research by method. Educational research by method can either be descriptive. Now, a descriptive research, it provides information in the present, and those information can be about conditions, situations, or rather events. But like I said, it must be in the present. Now, descriptive research deals with just describing, explaining, and validating the findings. Another type of educational research by method is the historical research. From the word history, you know that it deals with past events. Past events. So historical research is making effort to organize data of past events as best as possible. Now you say, okay, since this research is in the past, how do I collect data? Don't be scared. Data can be sourced from the library, the museum, artifacts, or just as you have here. The next type of educational research by method is the experimental research. In the experimental research, the independent variables are manipulated to observe the effect on the dependent variable. So, what does that really entails? It means that for experimental research, you must have the independent variable as well as the dependent variable. Now this independent variable will be manipulated so that we can see the effects, or we can observe the effects on this dependent variable. And usually in an experimental research, you must have the experimental group and the control group. Okay, so let's move on to educational research by the nature of knowledge. Just like I explained in the previous slide, we can either have the quantitative research. Now, in quantitative research, the data are in numeric values, and they utilize the inferential statistics to determine the results of the study. Now, also in quantitative research, it requires structured way of collecting data and analyzing. So it requires a structured way compared to the qualitative, which we'll talk about in a short while. So here we go, the qualitative research as a type of educational research by the nature of knowledge. So the qualitative research is all about inquiry, all about having in-depth understanding of the nature of the nature, or having in-depth understanding of the problem at hand. Now, also recall that I said in qualitative data they deal with in qualitative research they deal with data that are of numeric value, but in qualitative it uses verbal or non-numeric data or value. So this is one of the difference between the qualitative research and the quantitative research. The data collected in quantitative are of numeric value, while the data in qualitative are verbal or non-numerical. Watch out for this in our discussion forum. So next is the meta-analysis. Now this is a statistical analysis that combines the result of multiple scientific studies to reach an overall conclusion. So in meta-analysis, we have various kinds of study that would be examined to bring out an overall conclusion. So that is meta-analysis as a type of educational research by the nature of knowledge. What have we discussed so far? Wow. So in this lesson, we're able to look at educational research. We went further to discuss or state the characteristics of educational research, and lastly we identified the types of educational research, or we can say their classification of educational research. So far this lesson has been a very interesting one, and I'm looking forward to facilitating the second lesson of this course. So from me, it is bye for now, and I remain your facilitator, Franklin Onowugbeda. Thank you.